Right, we're back. Chapter 21, Leviticus. In case you don't know what the School of Light is, if you want a correspondence Bible study course through the mail, you let me know. We'll send it to you free of charge, pre-paste, pre-stamp, pre-addressed envelope. You can put your answers in. We'll make a file for you. We grade it. We keep track. You complete the series. We send you a certificate of completion. Enough certificate of completions in certain series, and you earn college credit if that's something you do. Our average student, or we serve students from age 4 through adult, and we have a lot of incarcerated ministries, students in jail, and throughout the United States. We only serve the United States right now. Big goal is to digitize what information we have, put it into a platform, educational platform, kind of like a Phoenix University, so you can log in, you can keep track of your percentages, your grades, print out certificate completions, and maybe even tutor or mentor other students around the world that like chat rooms and things like that. So let's hop right to it. Leviticus chapter 21. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, a priest must not make himself ceremonially unclean for any people who die, of his people who die, except for a close relative, such as his mother or father, his son or daughter, his brother, or an unmarried sister who is dependent on him since she has no husband. For her he may make himself unclean. He must not make himself unclean for people related to him by marriage, and so defile himself. Priests must not shave their heads, or shave the edges of their beards, or cut their bodies. They must be holy to their God, and must not profane the name of their God, because they present the offering made to the Lord by fire, the food of their God. They are to be holy. They must not marry women defiled by prostitution or divorced from their husbands, because priests are holy to their God." I want to say something, there's some divorced women out there that are just fantastic quality, super quality women, and the guys that they married were just junk pieces of crap that come out of an elephant's ass. And so in I heard the other day my friend Eric Waymeyer's Facebook page, something like it was in Galatians 2:20, where it says, "I have been crucified with Christ, and yet I no longer live, but it is Christ that lives within me. The life I live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me." So in the first part, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live. So if you've been crucified with Christ, that means that your divorces, that your sins, that if you had committed adultery with somebody, all that stuff, the punishment that was due us was all on him. So all that was, um, you know, in other words, don't feel condemnation. Don't feel separated from God. Don't have some kind of stigmata or some kind of, like, what do they call it, where you know a false belief or a false thought. People think Christians, Bible, you gotta be perfect. Now I'm telling you, I'm not perfect, and I got certain things that I probably never will let go of. They're not like detrimental to my soul type things, but they're just things that I do that are that might be okay, it might not be okay, but I think it's okay because it really doesn't. In excess, it's probably not. Um, but these women, these husbands out there, don't have this false belief that, oh, I'm divorced. It's not like the church, or people might be saying, no, you don't want to go around there, man. Those guys are all, like, And another thing too is, fellow Christian women, men, whatever out there, you think you're acting Christian. You think you're acting full of God's Spirit, right? So you go to this church, and every day or Sunday, Wednesday, and you just go. If you just go in and you're like, hey, and then you see people outside of the church, and someone's drinking, someone's smoking weed, people are being too flirtatious with each other, whatever the thing is, and you look at them like, ew, what kind of people do that? Ew. You know, you're the one that probably needs to go check yourself in with some prayer time in front of God, and get in your closet and get right, because you don't look at people that way. You don't, that's the reason, one of the reasons the church is so, like, we alienate people, like, not me, but like us as a church family, we have this stigmata or some kind of a thing that you gotta be perfect, or you gotta be pure, oh, you go to church but don't drink. The Bible doesn't say not to drink, it just says don't drink to drunkenness. Don't dance. You don't want to dance. The devil's in the dance. Gyrating them hips. Ooh, the devil. If you're a Christian out there and you've done any of these things, or you're thinking like that, or you see this happening, this is your prescription. Spend more time in this and less time out there discrediting people, lifting yourself up by pushing them down. God will probably, as a father, if you do that crap, keeping your other brothers and sisters from coming to heaven, from coming because of your arrogance and stuff, I think God would give you a loving slap in the face. You really need to learn it. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. Okay. They must not marry women defiled by prostitution or divorce from their husbands, because priests are holy to their God. Regard them as holy because they offer up the food of your God. Consider them holy because I, the Lord, am holy. I who make you holy. So I say, Jesus, if you were a prostitute, if you were divorced or whatever, I say today, with what Jesus did, that person is completely clean. There is no stigma. Oh, I'm a divorce. Oh, I'm a former prostitute. There is nothing like that. That person's, the female, that wife, whatever, is 100% clean, and like she never sinned. So there is no, hey, don't marry the divorced woman. It's more, hey, make sure you marry a daughter of God, someone that's serving God. So we are on chapter 21, verse 9. If a priest's daughter defiles herself by becoming a prostitute, she disgraces her father. She must be burned in the fire. The high priest, the one among his brothers who has had the anointing oil poured on his head and who has been ordained to wear the priestly garments, must not let his hair become unkempt or tear his clothes. He must not enter a place where there is a dead body. He must not make himself unclean, even for his father or mother, nor leave the sanctuary of his God or desecrate it, because he has been dedicated by the anointing oil of his God. I am the Lord. The woman he marries must be a virgin. He must not marry a widow, a divorced woman, or a woman defiled by prostitution, but only a virgin from his own people. Same thing, folks. You could be a promiscuous girl, come to God spiritually and in your heart and everything. God looks at you like a virgin. There is no, oh, well, she was a promiscuous girl. Not when Christ paid the price. When he paid the price for you, you're his, 100%. And Jesus didn't pay the price for you with money. I'll trade you my house, I'll give you my lands, to have you as a wife. He purchased, you're a bridegroom of blood. If you don't know the story of Christ, he loved you so much, he loves us with so much passion, and loves God with so much passion that he became this sacrifice. All these things, all these lambs and bulls and scapegoats and all this stuff that was in place to show us that the consequences of sin is so bad that you need blood, or it equals death, and then come and pay the price with passion, so that if you're the promiscuous woman, the prostitution woman, or whatever, you can be like brand new again. And that's that's incredible, folks. And the Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, for generations to come, none of your descendants who has a defect may come near to offer the food of his God. No man who has any defect may come near. No man who is blind or lame, disfigured or deformed, no man who is crippled, foot or hand, or who is hunchbacked or dwarfed, or has any eye defect, or who has festering or running sores or damaged testicles. No descendant of Aaron the priest who has any defect is to come near to present the offering made to the Lord by fire. He has a defect. He must not come near to offer the food of his God. He may eat the most holy food of his God as well as the holy food, but yet, because of his defect, he must not go near the curtain or approach the altar, and so desecrate my sanctuary. I am the Lord who makes them holy. What is this? Crippled foot, deformed, hunchback, dwarfed. And literally back then it was like, if you're hunchback, if you got a crippled foot or hand, but now I think it means, if you're blind, spiritually blind, right? Blind to the spiritual truths that are out there, that are revealed, that God has revealed. If you're spiritually blind, disfigured, deformed, an eye defect, festering or running sores, damaged testicles, if you got I'm just gonna say you have some kind of like a deep-seated anger, hate towards somebody because you've been jealous of them or something. I think he's saying you really can't come close to God because you got this defect. It's almost like you gotta, before you come to God in this illustration, before you come to God, just say, God, I have this, and get rid of that crippled thing or whatever, right? So God told this to Aaron and his sons, and to all the Israelites. Chapter 22. The Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons to treat with respect the sacred offerings the Israelites consecrate to me, so they will not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, for the generations to come, if any of your descendants is ceremonially unclean and yet comes near the sacred offerings that the Israelites consecrate to the Lord, that person must be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. If a descendant of Aaron has an infectious skin disease or a bodily discharge, he may not eat the sacred offering until he is cleansed. He will also be unclean if he touches something defiled by a corpse or by anyone who has an emission of semen, or if he touches any crawling thing that makes him unclean, or any person who makes him unclean, whatever the uncleanliness may be. The one who touches any such thing will be unclean till evening. He must not eat any of the sacred offerings unless he has bathed himself with water. When the sun goes down, he will be clean, and after that he may eat the sacred offerings, for they are his food. He must not eat anything found dead or torn by wild animals, and so become unclean through it. I am the Lord. The priests are to keep my requirements so that they do not become guilty and die. For treating them with contempt, I am the Lord who makes them holy. No one outside a priest's family may eat. Okay. The sacred offering, nor may the guest of a priest or his hired worker eat it. But if a priest buys a slave with money, or if a slave is born in his household, that slave may eat his food. If a priest's daughter marries anyone other than a priest, she may not eat any of the sacred contributions. But if a priest's daughter becomes a widow or is divorced, yet has no children, and she returns to live in her father's household as in her youth, she may eat of her father's food. No unauthorized person, however, may eat any of it. If anyone eats a sacred offering by mistake, he must make restitution to the priest for the offering, add a fifth of the value to it. The priest must not desecrate the sacred offering the Israelites presented to the Lord by allowing them to eat the sacred offering and so bring upon them guilt requiring payment. I am the Lord who makes them holy. The Lord said to Moses, speak to Aaron. I can hear my dog outside wanting to go for a run. Speak to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites and say to them, if any of you, either an Israelite or an alien living in Israel, presents a gift for a burnt offering to the Lord, either to fulfill a vow or has a free will offering, you must present a male without defect from the cattle, sheep, or goats in order that it may be accepted on your behalf. Do not bring anything with a defect, because it will not be accepted on your behalf. When anyone brings from the herd or flock a fellowship offering to the Lord, fulfill a special vow, or as a freewill offering, it must be without defect or blemish to be acceptable. Do not offer to the Lord the blind, the injured, or the maimed, or anything with warts or festering or running sores. Do not place any of these on the altar as an offering made to the Lord by fire. You may, however, present as a freewill offering an ox or a sheep that is deformed or stunted, but it will not be accepted in the fulfillment of a vow. You must not offer to the Lord an animal whose testicles are bruised, crushed, or torn, or cut. You must not do this in your own land, and you must not accept such animals from the hand of a foreigner and offer them as food for your God. They will not be accepted on your behalf because they are deformed and have defects. The Lord said to Moses, when a calf, a lamb, a goat is born, it will remain with its mother for 7 days. From the 8th day on, it will be acceptable as an offering made to the Lord by fire. Do not slaughter a cow or a sheep and its young on the same day. When you sacrifice a thank offering to the Lord, sacrifice it in such a way that it will be accepted on your behalf. It must be eaten that same day. Leave none of it till morning. I am the Lord. Keep my commands and follow them. I am the Lord. Do not profane my holy name. I must be acknowledged as holy by the Israelites. I am the Lord who makes you holy and who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord. That's the end of chapter 22. So what thoughts came across my mind? I just thought, like, imagine the town you live in, or city, or the closest city in my case, or the closest town in my case. And right now, say Albuquerque in my case, right now in Albuquerque, 600,000 people, right? There's probably 10% of those 600,000 that are believers, right? So there's probably 60,000 that pray and believe God, believe in God, believe Jesus. And then there's probably, I don't know, 5% of those people. So maybe 30,000 people that are criminals, right? And then there's a small percentage, maybe 1%, that are hard criminals, meth, crack, coke, heroin, oxycontins, dealers, people that are just hardened criminals, guys. I mean, they could be murderers, rapists, kidnappers, child molesters, all of this. Okay, and then, so I'm just going to say I've assigned 20% of some kind of demographic, right? Believers, criminals, and stuff like that. And then you have another percent that are just living their life and not really after anything bad, right? They're after good things. And then you have some people that are after some bad things. But let's just say it's, 80% of the people out there are the good guys. I have such good friends. They might not even be very close to God in a way, or hungry for God, but they're close to God. It's almost like their nature that they were born with and that they're created with and stuff like that is more friendly to God instead of more of an enemy, like I had been in the past to God. And so So you take that city, that 600,000. I'm imagining, picturing. So you take that city, you break it down. You got these 6,000 that are just hardened criminals. You know, you have 30,000 that are pretty rough, 60,000 of the 600,000 that are true believers, and then you have the remaining. Let me see. 480,000 people. So you have 480,000 people that are just good people, regular people. But you have all these things going on. But here, in the way they're setting Israel up and everything like this, the laws and everything like that, everybody is put on the same sheet. The criminal, you know what, Mr. Criminal, we find out that you do this, you kidnap, you do that, you're dead. All right, so 6,000, a lot of those guys are gonna die. Sorry about that, but it kind of reinforces everybody else is like, hey, you know, these rules are solid. these laws are more than just suggestions. And then if everyone was on the same thing, those 30,000 who were not hard criminals but just criminal types, maybe they're not going to go steal your car, or maybe they're not going to go and break into your house and steal $500 worth of crap, or 5,000, whatever it is that they're stupid enough to do, instead of just going out and trying to figure out a way to do it legally. In my mind, if this were to happen to, say, Albuquerque would become more prosperous. There would be more safety, more confidence, less fear, and it would be a better city, in my opinion. Guess I'm gonna cut it there, guys. I went off on some tangents. This is 22 minutes long, and God bless. If you want School of Light correspondence Bible study courses, contact us on schooloflights.org, schooloflight.org, not School of Lights, schooloflight.org. Go to my Facebook page, School of Light, and or just contact me here, or wherever way. Contact me on my email, sepherinobetha@gmail.com, and just let me know. Or you can go to schoolofadmin@schooloflight.com, or go to schooloflight.org, and there's a telephone number. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it connects you to our office in Clarksville, Tennessee. And our other half, BJ, is there, and she'll take your address and whatever class you want to get started with and send you the information. God bless. Have a good day.